Hello?
Hey y'all,
We're back.
how's it going?
It's Tuesday again.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Here we
We're
are.
right on time. Because at 5:59 p.m. Nisha said, hey, we got our live we got to do.
At least I remembered.
She totally did.
We
Yeah.
left it up to you. I'd still be, or you'd still be sitting in there.
No, you were exactly right.
My lips are really annoying.
What is this stuff?
Aquaphor.
Uh,
I've been licking my lips all day. I don't know why. It's so annoying.
you shouldn't do that.
I know.
That's what bacon grease is for.
Hello. I don't know why sometimes it's like we can see all of the comments, and right now it's kind of like blacked out. It's so annoying.
Facebook is so weird.
They change stuff
Yeah,
daily.
it's dumb.
Oh, hello. How is everybody? Aaron says, I'm stalling on weight and inches on carnivore. Could I be eating too much fat?
Maybe, but
Grab my phone.
probably not. Weight loss is not a linear process. It doesn't just go straight down like we wish it would. It goes in starts and stops. And so it's quite likely that your metabolism is adjusting to your new diet. Your hormones are moving in the right direction. And in another week or two, maybe another month or two, I know, you don't want to hear that, but it'll kick back up. And if you still have excess fat to lose, the fat loss will start back up.
Here we go.
I, for a full year of carnivore, I stayed right at, what was it, 245? 245. I would go from 242 to 247. That's where I just stayed for a year on carnivore. All of a sudden, my metabolism said, oh, okay, I guess we're not going to starve to death. I guess everything's good.
Yeah.
And now I stay between 228 and 233. That's my new set point. And during that year when I was stuck at 245, I knew I had more weight to lose, but I also knew that I was eating the healthiest diet I could possibly eat for me. And so I just stuck with it. And that's what I try to help you guys always remember is even if the weight loss, the fat loss is stalled, you're still getting healthier. Your metabolism is healing. Everything's moving back towards normal. And when your metabolism has reached a new equilibrium and your reptilian brain, your brainstem has decided, no, this is fine, everything's good, we can get rid of some more of this stored energy, which is what fat is, this insurance. That's what fat is an insurance policy if you're living in the wild. So if you don't eat for 3 weeks, you've got fat stored up. And once your brainstem is confident that everything's fine, you'll start to burn fat again, I promise.
Oh, stop that. It's doing the thing where it jumps in. This is from Ed. Is there a link between low T and enlarged prostate?
100%. Yeah, I've had hundreds of guys at the clinic who had BPH symptoms, and then when we diagnosed them with low T, we put them on either the testosterone pellets or the gel or the cream or the injections, and it's very common for them to come back in for their 3-month checkup and say, I can pee like a 20-year-old again. Like I literally my prostate seems like all the symptoms are completely gone. What it looks like is that BPH is directly related to your estrogen to testosterone ratio. And so if the estrogen is too high relative to the testosterone, and it doesn't really seem like the numbers matter, it's just the ratio. But then when you fix the low T, of course, they're going to do this. Or maybe even do this. And the estrogen might go up a little, but still your testosterone's way up higher. That seems to fix BPH for almost everybody.
Brent said, I saw your testosterone video posted yesterday. My most recent total testosterone was 523. I'm a 31-year-old, formerly obese male. What is my next step? Should I ask PCP for an endo referral? I want to try to get up in the 900 range.
So a good PCP can manage your testosterone for you. Here's the thing. You've gotten it probably up 200 or 300 points just by fixing your diet and losing fat. Your insurance is not going to pay to raise you from 500 up to 900. Only if you're, it used to, it was if your total testosterone was under 350, then insurance would pay. But when doctors started catching on and found out there's an epidemic of OT, then they lowered it. Oh, it's got to be under 200 or insurance won't pay. But if you tell your PCP, look, I'll pay cash, I understand, insurance won't pay. Most PCPs will put you on an injection and tell him that you don't want to go above the normal range. You just want to be in the upper limit of the normal range. And most normal ranges are somewhere between 350 and 1,000. That's what most labs say the normal range is. And if you explain to your doc, I just want to be in the upper limit of normal, that's what I want, most likely your doc will do that for you. And if your doc won't do that, then just Google and find a doctor near you who does bioidentical hormone optimization. Most docs who do that, they understand that that's the ideal place to be, is in the upper limit of normal, and they'll do it for you, but you're going to have to probably pay for that.
Jan Marie, this is a little long, so hang on. I'm really struggling to lose weight. When I do intermittent fast, 18 to 20 hours a day, I feel better, but I struggle keeping carbs because I'm stressed out. I also have started getting foot and toe pains. I'm 53, 288 pounds, diabetic for 4 years, 7.3 A1C. Take metformin and lisinopril. Vitamin D was low. TSH was 9.5. They wanted to put me on levothyroxine, but I told them no. Do I need something for hyperthyroid?
Mm-hmm,
Should I do 5 to extend fast to reset myself? Also, would OMAD be the best option for me?
Did she say what diet she's on right now? Keto, carnivore? Because you 100% need either Nature or Armour thyroid hormone replacement. Your TSH is way too high, and that's going to slow down your weight loss so much. And then secondly, you've got your A1C is still way too high, which tells me that you're still eating way too many carbohydrates for your personal metabolism. So find a doctor who will get you on Nature Thyroid or Armour Thyroid, and 1 to 3 months of carnivore, fatty meat carnivore. And then if you want to go back to keto, you can. Yeah, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. But yeah, those two things are going to help you. And then the fasting, it's very easy to fast for 16 to 22 hours a day if you're eating fatty meat carnivore and stuffing yourself with all the fat and protein that provides.
Cindy and Jimmy. She says, or Jimmy, I don't know if it's Cindy or Jimmy. Reading What Makes You Sick. He talks about the weight to hip ratio. I thought I was good till I read this. Mine is 8.2. What are your thoughts?
Waist to hip ratio is not as good of a measurement as waist to height ratio, because there are just some of us who have really big booties, and there are some of us who don't have any booty at all. So the hip ratio is much more beholden to genetics, whereas your waist circumference, that's almost always an indicator of your metabolic health, and your height is what it is. So yeah, I don't love waist to hip ratio that much. And the reason I don't love it is because I got a humongous booty. It used to be way bigger than it is now. And so my waist to hip ratio always look weird.
I like your booty big.
Well, I'll have to do some squats to make it big.
Sherry says, is the testosterone testing a blood lab or saliva?
Blood is better. It's actually serum, but yeah, blood test is, in my experience, always more reliable for testosterone than saliva. Now, for some of the adrenal testing, saliva seems to be better. But if you're going to get your testosterone, your progesterone, or estrogen checked, you need to get that checked in your blood.
Annie wants to know, she's been carnivore for 5 years, she's 44, she's ideal weight, her testosterone is 17. She has 8 of the symptoms from your video. What would cause low T if her diet is still is good, is ideal? Well,
as you get older, your testosterone normally goes down. It may not get super low. Also, how old was she? Did
44.
She say 44? Depending on where you're at in menopause, your ovaries are just not going to make as much testosterone as they once did. And as I've told you guys before, in my clinical experience, women feel best with a testosterone somewhere between 40 and 100. For almost every woman, that's their sweet spot where they feel really good. Now, we had a few women in the clinic who they didn't really feel good unless their testosterone was 150. But most women, they could tell that's too much for me. I don't like that. I want to be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, somewhere in there. It's really a good spot for women.
Sherry says, hey, Dr. B, my husband has severe low T. Even with the shots for a few years, it only elevated to about 40 points. His is 140 right now. After years of this, he now has lost all muscle, almost to the degree of wasting. He is heavy carnivore. He's 6'5" and down to 180 pounds. Any suggestions?
He's going to have to get some bioidentical testosterone replacement. And a lot of docs, if they're not comfortable with hormone optimization, they'll give men an injection, but they'll give them a very low dose, and some docs only give it once a month, and that's completely inappropriate and inadequate. A man needs a testosterone injection every 2 weeks at the most, and once a week is best for most men. And you want his testosterone level to be above 600.
Can you find a waist to height ratio calculator online? You can, can't you? I'm pretty sure I did that.
Yeah, there are.
It'll do it for you.
But it's not like BMI. It's a pretty simple calculation.
Right, but I don't math.
Yeah.
I Googled
so
mine.
You just measure your waist around the biggest part, not now you men, it's not around your hips, down there underneath where you wear your belt. That's not your waist. It's the fattest part of you. That's your waist. Measure that in inches. And then how tall are you in inches? Then divide the weight by the height. The waist by the height. And so if you've got a 48-inch waist and you're 70 inches tall, you just divide 40 by 70. That's your waist to height ratio. It's pretty easy.
Or you can Google it.
Or Google it. Yeah, there's a little calculator you can plug your numbers in.
Michelle wants to know if a vasectomy could lower testosterone.
There's a lot of theories that might happen, but every time they've looked at it with controlled research, it doesn't seem to lower it more than 20 or 30 points. But I've had a lot of guys tell me things just are not the same since my vasectomy. I've heard that many times. It's kind of like how they tell women that getting your tubes tied is not a big deal at all. And then the women are like, my periods are terrible. Yeah, I have pelvic pain all the time. It's kind of that same scenario.
Corliss wants to know, so this kind of ties in, well, where will a woman's testosterone come from if she's had a hysterectomy?
Women can make a little bit of testosterone from their adrenal glands, a little bit, not enough, but the ovaries are the predominant place it's made in females. And then in men, almost all the testosterone is made in the testicles, and they don't hardly make any in the adrenal glands at all.
Any thoughts on the GOLO insulin resistant diet? And insulin resistance. The diet, what's GOLO? Do you know what that is?
GOLO. Yeah. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is. You'll have to tell us.
Tell us what that is.
Tammy says, what are your current thoughts on needing liver on carnivore?
I'm not convinced that you need liver, liver is essential or you will not have optimal health, right? But I think that it makes a lot of damn sense to try to eat some liver, whether it's chicken liver, cod liver, some kind of liver in your diet, because all of our ancestors, without exception, did that. Many of the hunter-gatherer cultures that are still pretty much untouched that we can study, especially back when Weston Price, back in the 20s and 30s, they always ate the liver. Always. It was like the first thing they ate. And many wild animals, when they make a kill, the very first thing they eat is the liver. So it just that tells me that the liver is very, very nutritious and very important. But there are carnivores out there who haven't eaten organ meat in 20 years, and they look great. So
it's a diet to lower your insulin. Well, keto does that, and carnivore does that.
Keto's going to do that better. And I don't even know what that diet is, but I have studied and recommended many diets in my career, and I've never seen anything lower insulin quicker than keto or carnivore. What was the initials again?
GOLO.
GOLO. I'm going to look it up after we get done, and I'll try to remember to tell you what I think.
Sheila says, I had a full hysterectomy and a oophorectomy at age 40. Now I'm 58. I take estradiol pill inserts again now. What are other options? Is this healthy? I don't want to sabotage all my hard efforts to be healthy.
Yeah, so you're getting estrogen or an estrogen-like molecule from your estrogen pill, but you're not getting any progesterone and any testosterone. So there's just no way that your energy is going to be optimal without the testosterone, and there's just no way that you're sleeping deeply enough without the progesterone and the testosterone. So just do an internet search for bioidentical hormone therapy near you and go see them. And because really, if you get your testosterone replaced, that's going to fix your testosterone and your estrogen. And then you get the progesterone fixed. So you take T and P, and that fixes the T, the E, and the P just by taking those two. And you want them to be bioidentical.
Star wants to know what your thoughts on Thyro Gold are if she's unable to get Armor.
I've heard of that. I don't know enough about that to have an opinion. But the ones that are prescription that I know of are Armor, Thyroid, Nature Throid, WP, NP, and then in Canada there's one called ERFA, ERFA. But I know that all those are good, but I don't know about the Thyro Gold.
What are your thoughts on IUDs?
If you can get an IUD without the hormones, it's probably the least worrisome contraception you can have. But if it's got the hormones, a lot of women notice mood changes and problems with that. Yeah.
Pretty much all birth control comes with a lot of risks that nobody really talks about. Doctors don't really talk about it. They're just like, yeah, it's safe, it's fine, don't worry about it, take it. But I mean, it's hormone.
Yeah. And when you look at it, the risk of having an IUD versus all the risks involved with having a pregnancy and a delivery, I mean, yeah, it's probably safer for most women to have an IUD. But the way an IUD without hormones works is it just irritates the inside of your uterus, and that keeps it kind of irritated so that the egg won't attach. So that makes sense it's a mechanical contraception. It's not a hormonal contraception. But I have read reports of women who even have seeming hormonal symptoms even with a non-hormonal IUD.
There's lots of crazy stories about IUDs.
Yeah.
I delivered 7 IUD babies.
Yeah.
7.
It's still possible to get pregnant with an
none
IUD.
of it's 100%.
That's right. Exactly right. 7?
Yes.
Who was putting the IUDs in?
I don't know.
They put them in their butt? What were they doing?
I don't know. One of the girls, they couldn't find hers. Like, they didn't know where it went.
One baby delivered, he was holding the IUD.
Yeah. No, there is a picture of one.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Amanda, my hubby's having cancer removed from his kidney Thursday. He's 300 pounds, down from 410. He's a fasting carnivore rock star. He wants to continue extended fasting after surgery, but I think he needs to have protein every day to help him heal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think while he's healing, he does need protein every day and fat every day. But he can do that if he wants to just say, okay, fine, I can't do extended fasting. I'm just going to do a 20-hour fast every day and then have a 4-hour feeding window. I think that's perfectly fine. I promise, if he's listening, you're still going to keep losing weight. You will. But you need protein and fat to heal. And so if you're fasting, you're getting fat because you're breaking down your fat and burning it, but you're maybe not getting enough protein to heal as quickly as you'll want to heal. She wants you healed up quickly so you can get back to your honey-do list.
I lost it. I'm sorry. Okay, Jamie wanted to know if there are any book recommendations for someone with Parkinson's.
Yeah, Amy Berger's book about Alzheimer's, everything she says about Alzheimer's is applicable to all of the neurological diseases, from Lou Gehrig's to Huntington's, to all the dementias. Everything she says about Alzheimer's, it applies. So, yeah.
Gloria says, I am no longer on biopellets. Can I continue to take progesterone pills? Will they help anything? Yeah,
they'll help you. Take them at bedtime. They'll help you sleep. A lot of women notice that fat loss is easier when their progesterone is optimized. And then get back in there and get your pellets as soon as you can.
Miss Patricia is 50 years old, forced menopause due to breast cancer caused by high estrogen. Can't lose weight. Could I be insulin resistant?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Have your doctor check your A1C and a C-peptide. And that's going to tell you if you're hyperinsulinemic or not. If your C-peptide's still high, then however many carbohydrates you've been eating a day, you need to cut that in half. And that's when you're going to start burning some fat.
Holly wants to know, will keto help
Aldosteronemia.
hyperaldosteronism?
Yeah, it's not going to hurt. If you think of keto, a real whole food, one ingredient ketogenic diet as the proper human diet, then yeah, of course, that's the diet you need to eat regardless of what medical condition you have. It might improve your symptoms and improve your lab values, but even if it doesn't have any effect on the hyperaldosteronism, you're still eating the proper human diet, which is what you need for all your other systems to function properly.
Taylor says, I was on hormone therapy post ERPR positive breast cancer, stopped it early due to symptoms. I know my fat is producing estrogen. What can I do while waiting to lose more weight to stop the estrogen?
You can be more active. So the exercise, not for fat loss, but for moving your hormones in the right direction. You can get plenty of good, deep quality sleep. Protect your sleep hours like you would protect silver coins under your mattress. Don't let anybody mess with your sleep. Eat the proper human diet and keep losing weight. That's pretty much everything you can do to naturally optimize that.
Facebook's been weird about the comments, so sorry if I missed your question.
They're jumping around.
Well, and they're repeating, like, oh gosh.
So annoying.
Jason, oh my gosh. My daughter has had rashes all over her torso for the last several months. We've been to infectious disease, dermatology, and now allergy. She's kind of low carb, but would keto be good to start her on?
100%. And I would probably stop all dairy except for butter, ghee, maybe heavy cream, and keto and definitely no low fat or skim dairy whatsoever. The least fat dairy would be heavy cream.
Cindy says, I take prednisone for my arthritis. Is that why I can't lose weight anymore? Also, is it good to take for any length of time?
Yeah, and prednisone's a great medicine for short-term use. And if you have rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis, some crippling, like you literally can't get out of bed, then you don't have any quality of life with arthritis that bad. And if prednisone makes it better enough that you're able to get up out of bed and live your life, then you might say, yeah, it's worth taking that every day for months and months because I can actually get up and have some fun in my life. But I would predict that if you get your carbohydrates low enough, and rheumatoid arthritis is one of the autoimmune conditions that does great with carnivore. Yeah, I might try a month or two of carnivore, and you might be able to slowly, and you'll need to have your doctor wean you down off the prednisone. You can't just stop taking that. That doesn't work after you've been taking it for a long time. But you might be able to cut your prednisone dose in half or even by 3/4. Maybe stop it. You never know. But even if you could cut it in half and still feel as, joint-wise as good as you want to feel, that'd be a great victory, and that would help you start to be able to burn fat much easier.
Sharon says, my granddaughter has some real bad tics. They recently, I don't know, I guess they showed up recently. Do you think low carb will help her?
If it is a neurological tic disorder like Tourette's, then definitely it's going to help. Now, did it say how old she was?
No.
It's pretty common for adolescents and young teenagers, especially if there's drama or trauma in their life, to develop habitual tics. I can remember when I was probably 10 or 12, I had this thing where I would do this with my head.
Oh, I could not have dated you.
Right? And I don't know, I just got in the habit of that. I would just do that. Yeah, I probably did it for 9 months or something. I don't know. I think I saw a surfer boy flipping his hair, and so I thought I was doing that. I don't know. I don't know.
That's not a tick. That's
idiot.
you being...
yeah, but it became, I couldn't control it. And it happened for months. And I can remember Granny Berry just wanting to slap the crap out of me, to try to get me to quit doing it. And finally I quit. But it's hard to know if it's a habitual tic like that or if it's a neurological tic. But if it's neurological like Tourette's, 100% keto is going to help that. And if it's a habitual tic, maybe just slap the shit out of them like Granny used to do me, because eventually it broke me.
April says, do you think that a vitamin K shot in inference with a mother that has been keto in pregnancy versus non-keto in pregnancy, do you think there's a difference for the baby?
If the mom has really been going out of her way to get to eat all of the vitamin K2 rich foods that I talk about on my YouTube video, then the vitamin K shot's probably unnecessary. But Nisha can tell you, you're going to play holy hell getting that baby out of labor and delivery, out of the nursery without getting that vitamin K shot. The nurses are going to
harass you.
Yeah, they're going to harass you. And I've looked into the vitamin
Not
K.
because they're mean; they're just trying to do
Yeah,
their job.
they're literally 100% convinced that your baby will die if they don't get that. Now, your baby's not going to die. The bleeding that happens if kids don't get the vitamin K shot, it's like 1 in 10,000 can have a cerebral bleed from the trauma of going through the birth canal. It's very, very rare, but the vitamin K shot does decrease the risk of that unless the mother's fully vitamin K loaded from eating vitamin K rich foods, in which case it doesn't help at all. But I've really looked into the vitamin K shot, and I don't think it hurts anything other than the kid getting a shot. I don't think it's a big deal at all. Have you seen any kind of negative?
A lot of people talk about the bad ingredients in it. There is a vitamin K shot that has nothing bad in it, and
Right.
if you can
ask
order
for
it as
that.
a mom
That's right.
and bring it to the hospital
Yeah.
and tell them, I'll sign the sheet that says I don't
Yeah.
want that vitamin K,
Yeah.
and feel free to give this. When
Yeah.
I did that to a mom, she brought her own vitamin K, and
Yeah.
we were happy to give it
You
to
can
the
ask
baby.
your family doctor or your OBGYN to order that for you.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't have any of the preservatives and all that stuff in it.
You can find that on all the mom forums.
Yeah.
Find the name of it. It's
And in
pretty
that case, I would say that's 100% safe to do.
Tracy wants to know, what do you consider high for a C-peptide?
Well, I go by the reference range on whatever the lab is, because LabCorp and Quest, they have different reference ranges because they do their test a little different at the reference lab. And so for the average person, if you're within the reference range, that's normal. That's fine. There's really, I definitely want your C-peptide to be as low in the normal reference range as possible, but I don't think that's necessary. And for most of the time, it's 0.8 to 3.5, something like. Usually, that's a really good C-peptide.
L. That's a cool name. Allie. L. I wonder if it's L or
Allie?
Allie.
Maybe Allie.
Sorry if I'm just saying it wrong. What are good ideas for toddler diet?
Meat.
Meat, you can make my chicken nuggets. Kid approved. It's on my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and put in Nisha keto chicken nuggets. It'll pop right up. Super easy to make. They're delicious. Pretty much everybody who makes them is like, this is a go-to. And you can get the Primal Kitchen ketchup, so they can dip them in ketchup. Cheese. Kids love cheese.
Yep, absolutely. And if you want to give them some avocado, I think that's perfectly fine. If the kids love salty pickles, I think that's great. Olives, if they like them. I never liked them as a kid. But what we're trying to avoid with Beckett, and what I, just looking back at my personal experience, I hated olives. I hated sardines. I hated anything that had real bowl flavor.
Yeah, flavor.
Flavor, right? Because I was used to sweets. That's what I was used to, right? And when I feel like you basically spoil a child's palate and you retard their palate. They can't develop a taste and a liking for more complex flavors and the flavors of real food if you're giving them something sweet all the time, even if that's fruit. We'll give Beckett fruit, but it's going to be way down the road, and he'll have fruit occasionally.
Probably out of our garden.
Yeah. When we go back to the farm, if the blueberries are ripe, he can have blueberries off the bush. We've got a yard full of wild strawberries here in Nashville that are about, what would you say, a third as sweet or 10% as sweet?
Yeah,
and they're tiny, but they're tasty. They have a delicious flavor, but they're not very sweet. And so what I want him to have when he does go to that birthday party, when he's in kindergarten, and he gorges on the cake, I want him to be like, yeah, that didn't make me feel good at all. I don't want him to already be habituated to eating sweets every day, something sweet, even if it's melon every day or, something like that. I want him to love the savory flavors.
He does.
before he even knows what sweet is. The sweetest thing he's ever had in his life
Booby milk.
is booby milk. Yeah, that's the sweetest thing he's ever tasted.
Mom's milkshake.
Yep.
Sharon says, for children, do you need to up salt for low carb? We salt all of Beckett's food just like we salt our own. We don't put more on there, but he craves it.
Yeah.
And so I'll give him a salt rock, one of the Redmond's rocks, and he will suck on it.
For a minute or two, then what does he do?
And then he'll put it
Just
down
throws it
when
down.
he's done.
Yeah.
And so I just let him play with that. And then if he needs the salt, then he'll go get it
That's
and
right.
he'll suck on it. And then when he's done, he'll put it down.
Yeah. Young kids are one of the groups of humans that a low salt diet is very bad for. The people who are very old, people who are very young, or people who are very sick, they got to have their salt. And so do not be afraid to salt your little one's food.
Nadia wants to know, do you add the fish oil to the ground beef when you use your cod liver? Do you use the oil that's in the can?
It's not cod liver oil, it's just cod oil. And I don't love it. It's a little too fishy for me.
The oil that's in
The
the
oil.
can?
I usually
Really?
pour the oil out.
Okay.
Which I shouldn't. I'm wasting fish oil. It's full of omega-3s. You're absolutely right. But I just don't love the taste of it. And usually I take my cod liver and I just blend it up with mustard. And then I can't even taste the cod liver. It's like I'm eating a thick mustard sauce on my meat. But yeah, I have to admit I pour the cod oil out. That's probably a sin.
Larissa Blair. So I have been doing a long fast, 72 hours weekly, and keto carnivore when I break my fast, or sometimes 23-1 OMAD when not fasting long term, and finding it hard to lose weight. What could I be doing wrong?
Nothing.
The only dairy I do is cheese for the most part. Very stressful.
Yeah, don't be stressed by that. It's just like I was saying earlier for our other friend we were talking about. You are doing everything exactly right. You are gleaning hundreds of health benefits by doing what you're doing.
Do you enjoy fasting for that long, or do you think that you need to fast for that long?
It's a good question. I'd like to know the answer to that.
Because it could be that you're not eating enough and your body is hungry, and it's not always great to push yourself to do these long fasts if you don't feel great. But if you feel great, then keep on.
And you've discovered the magic of the human body and the magic of human hormones. If your body's not ready to lose weight, you can literally almost starve it and it won't lose weight. And so I might try changing it up. I might try doing 3 weeks of a 22-hour fast a day and then a 2-hour feeding window. Try that for two to 4 weeks. And then do a 72-hour fast. And just switch it up like that, because Nisha could absolutely be right. You may not be eating enough. You may be fasting to the point where you've lowered your metabolic rate. And that happens in some people. But it's not going to be permanent. And the way you'll know it's not permanent is when you start eating more often, like once or twice a day. Do that for 2 or 3 weeks. You'll start to burn hotter, and you'll burn off more fat, even though you're eating more food. That can happen. And so, first of all, congratulations, you haven't gained any weight, right? Congratulations. Secondly, you're still getting hundreds of health benefits. And then thirdly, switch it up and play and experiment and figure out what works for you. And realize you may stay stall for another 6 months, but that's okay, because you're still getting number 1 benefit and number 2 benefit.
Roxana says, my skinny 15-year-old joined me on my keto diet. I will make sure he doesn't lose weight, but I'm so proud of him. He wants to do it because it seems healthy. I've been on it for 9 months, and he has witnessed my transformation. I never pestered him about it. That's so interesting, because guess who jumped on the keto wagon this week?
Abby Grace
Abby
Berry.
Grace. And that's saying a lot, because that girl
Yeah.
loves her bananas
She
and
does.
fruit.
Yeah, she said, I'm sick of feeling bad every day. What do I need to do? Tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I promise he's not going to lose any weight if he's eating until he's full. So don't let him portion control or any of that foolishness. When y'all are eating, if he starts to get up, you need to say it now. Are you still hungry or are you full? And if he's still hungry, he needs to eat some more, because it's so easy, evidently, for humans to fall into this mindset. I want to be healthy, therefore I need to eat less. And that's not always...
Usually teenage boys don't have that
That's
problem.
right. It's usually teenage girls, but you never know, right? But just verify that he's full when he starts to act like he's done. And especially if any of you guys got teenage girls, stop them and say, "Are you full?" And if they're like, "Well, no, but I mean, sit down, eat till you're full," because that's what human beings do.
Ellen says, I crave sweets after eating a keto meal. How can I change this? Make yourself eat more meat.
Yeah,
And
eat
if
more
you
meat.
can't eat more meat, then you're not hungry.
We were just talking to our friend Christine, who we just met in person. She on Instagram, her handle is Weight Loss Hero. Her and her boyfriend came by and visited us and hung out and made a video with us. And she said she's got this test. She calls it skinless chicken breast hungry. And so when she starts having a craving for something, she's like, okay, Christine, are you skinless chicken breast hungry?
Plain.
Right? No salt, no spices. Are you hungry enough that you would eat some skinless chicken breast? And if the answer is no, then you're not really hungry. Right. And that's a pretty darn good test. I've never heard that before.
Go fix yourself an electrolyte drink.
Yep.
Drink that.
Lick some salt.
Eat some salt.
Exactly.
And see how you feel after
And then have some bacon in a Ziploc bag. And if you're like, I want something sweet, go eat 2 pieces of bacon, because that's never going to mess you up, eating 2 pieces of bacon, because that's a 1-to-1 fat to protein ratio. It's still 100% proper human diet. And then if you're still hungry, eat 2 more pieces of bacon. And I promise you, at some point, your hormones will kick in and you'll be like, oh, I'm done. I don't want anything more to eat. And then you didn't eat any carbs at all.
Melinda says, I'm wanting to exercise for better health and to accelerate my fast loss. Is it better to exercise fasted? Does the time of day matter for maximum benefit?
You need to exercise as early in the day as you can, because if you exercise too close to bedtime, there's some research that may mess with your sleep a little bit. The exercising is not going to help you burn fat faster. It will help you increase your bone density. It will help you put on healthy muscle. So there's tons of benefits, but don't think that's going to accelerate your fat loss. It's not going to do that.
Serena wants to know, how do you feel about L-glutamine for sweet cravings?
I think it's worth a try if you've already bought it, but I like my bacon in a Ziploc bag trick better if you haven't bought it yet.
Yeah.
Lick the salt, drink some electrolytes, eat some bacon. In that order. Right?
I mean, it doesn't have to be in that order.
Eat the bacon first.
You can eat the bacon
I would do
first.
that. That would be my order. Yeah.
Patricia wants to know, if I'm insulin resistant, should I take metformin?
If you're insulin resistant or still have elevated insulin, then you need to eat fewer carbohydrates than you're currently eating. And then give your body time to heal. If you're just beginning this journey and you're on metformin or glucophage, I think it's fine to stay on it for a while. It's not going to hurt you to take that, and it might help you get to where you're going quicker. But starting it just because you're hyperinsulinemic, I don't think that's I think you need to cut the carbs some more.
Y'all, while we have a breaking questions, I have to tell you something. Melissa, you guys know Melissa, she's in the group, she helps us. She's an amazing cook. Okay, fantastic. She made shrimp fried rice, Asian shrimp fried, that's hard to say. Asian shrimp fried rice, keto, cauliflower rice, okay? And y'all know my dad is like,
Puerto Rican.
He's Puerto Rican. Rice is like the base of every meal, all right? He hates cauliflower. He actually hates all veggies, period, end of story, okay?
Yeah.
So we tricked him, and if you watch my What I Eat in a Day vlog, it should be posted tomorrow. You can see us trick him into eating the cauliflower rice, and I tell him it's cauliflower. The face that he makes
It's so great.
is like
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah, and this is a guy who, I don't know, a year ago, he won't eat any veggies. And I said, Pedro, I'll give you $20 if you'll eat this cauliflower. It was, it was like the florets. He's like,
I think we could have told him we'd buy him a new gun, and he wouldn't have eaten the cauliflower.
well, maybe for a new gun.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He's a big hunter.
Yeah, but he wouldn't do it for $20. And he's eating this cauliflower rice. It's like, that's good.
And I was like, what are you eating? He's like, rice. And I was like, is it good? Yeah, it's really good. He's shoveling it in, and I was like, it's cauliflower. He's like,
no, it ain't.
He just looked at me. I said, it's cauliflower. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's cauliflower. Anyways, that recipe is on Melissa's blog. It's cookingketowithfaith.com.
Yeah. I haven't tried any of it yet, but I'm going to try some.
I'm here to tell you, I've been cutting back even more on my veg. Like, I literally only eat veg on my What I Eat in a Day vlogs to kind of give you guys an idea of more stuff, because I know it's boring watching me eat a hamburger steak all the time. but I tore it up. And my stomach was like, not happy. But it didn't, I don't care. It was worth it. It was really that good. But it did. Really, I like had to go to the bathroom. It's really bad.
I wondered where you went. You disappeared.
Made me really sad, but that just goes to show you, like, eating cleaner makes you sensitive to even keto things, because she cooks pretty clean. Like, her stuff is legit, so. But if you're keto, it probably won't hurt you at all. But eating so much meat has made me very sensitive to the vegetables. Is coconut aminos better than soy sauce? Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. They taste just as good too, I think. That's what she uses in her recipes, coconut aminos. Tracy says, can you please talk about fluid retention in this heat and what you can do to get rid of the fluid? I am strict carnivore.
If you're having a substantial amount of edema or fluid, then you need to go see your doctor. I know that's a pain in the butt, but you need to go and have your heart checked, your liver checked, and your kidneys checked, because swelling in your ankles, that can be, I'm not saying it is, but it can be a sign of heart failure, kidney failure, or liver failure, and you want those things to be ruled out by your doctor. And so after you've done that, then just keep eating carnivore. And I mean, sometimes after a certain age, you're just going to hold a little bit of fluid. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. Come here.
We're in
No,
his
you
John
come to
Deere
Daddy, not
green.
Mama.
Somebody asked about turkey bacon. No.
Gross.
Eat
Why?
the real thing, man.
Why would you do that?
And if you're worried about sugar and nitrates and all that, Peterson's makes great bacon. You can buy it online. You can buy it at Sprouts if you have a local Sprouts.
No.
So, no, eat
Where's my
bacon.
nose?
Real bacon.
Nose.
Y'all, today, he's got this Curious George monkey, and he was sitting in my lap, laid back, and my mom went, "Where's George? Where's George?" And he leans up and points at the monkey. Like, you're so smart!
I got him for a minute before he wanted Mama.
You're so smart. You're in a better mood today than you were last night. Let's see here. CookingKetoWithFaith.com is where the shrimp fried rice recipe is going to be.
Her daughter's name is Faith.
One of her daughters.
Cooking-
her
yeah.
smallest one.
Her baby daughter.
I talked too soon. Now you're acting crazy.
He wants booby.
Yeah, well, he
Can't
always does.
Well, yeah. He's like, I don't understand.
Oh my gosh. He's literally just throwing.
Wow. That's not dramatic at all, Beckett.
I wish y'all could have seen that.
He just collapsed. Like, oh, my life is over. Here, you want this? Hey.
Hey,
Okay.
look. Leslie said he wants ninny. That's
He
what
wants
we
some
call
ninny.
it too.
You want some nitty, Mama?
Oh, that's okay for 2 seconds.
Yeah. Maybe that'll get us a minute.
Okay. Oh, Leslie made her first pork belly this week. It was fabulous. So good.
That's a gift from the Creator.
Yeah.
Well done, pork belly. Oh. There's a Mexican grocery up the road, and they have chicharrones, which they call them meat skins, but it's like sliced, deep fried pork belly that they then just throw in a bag like you would pork skins. But man, you heat those things. I like get them hot again in some bacon grease. Good Lord. It's like crispy, crunchy pork belly strips. Oh man, so good.
They're huge. You've
Yeah,
taken
they're
a
humongous.
picture of them before.
Yeah, they're humongous.
Oh.
Then you did it. What next?
Stop giving. No, don't give. No.
No, this one.
Yeah, that's okay.
What?
You want that?
There.
Deep fried skin and fat. Can't beat it.
100%.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you could, like used to, you could ask a good butcher for chicken skins, and you could make your own chicken skins that are deep fried and crispy.
Yep.
It's like almost impossible to find those now.
Hopefully, if enough of us keep asking and keep pushing for that sort of thing, they'll start doing it again. There's just got to be that demand out there. There's got to be enough of us asking consistently enough to where the light goes off in their head. And they're like, I think I could make some money selling chicken skins. I'm going to start saving them and see what happens.
my goodness. You're going to pop that top off.
How
and
could you,
swallow
Mother?
it.
How could you? You broke his heart.
You are moody. Somebody said, can you... Where did it go? I'm sorry. Can you reuse the residue from cooking with butter or just bacon? Let me answer. When I cook in butter, if you watch my vlogs, I pour just a splash of heavy cream and simmer and stir it around and kind of reduce it and make a sauce. And then I just pour that all over my meat. And it is amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, you can use it. You don't probably need to store it. You need to go ahead and use it.
Yep.
But don't waste that. Don't you throw it out. Make a little cream sauce.
That's right.
Okay. Bacon grease is lip gloss.
Yes. And beef tallow. Every night I've got a jar of beef tallow in my nightstand.
Becky.
Once a day I put beef tallow on my lips when I go to bed. Nisha doesn't mind.
Is it true that larger midsection and buffalo hump mean higher levels of stress? And is there a video on how to fix that?
They can mean that. So the way you fix that, and now they can also mean Cushing's disease. So if you have those two symptoms, and especially if you have stretch marks as well, you need to go see your doctor and figure out whether you have Cushing's disease or whether you just have Cushingoid symptoms. Because if your cortisol and insulin are high enough, you can have all the symptoms of Cushing disease and not have Cushing's. But you need to know, do you have Cushing's or not? Because there's specific things you got to do if you have Cushing's disease. It sounds like you got a couple of the symptoms, but also some women will just hold fat around the middle and they'll have the hump as well. And that's just a fat deposit. It's not really that they have Cushing's disease. What do you say? Anything else? You see another one?
Can one eat meat when protein high in urine? High in the urine.
So your protein being high in your urine means you have some stage of kidney failure. That still does not mean that eating protein is bad for you. Protein is good for you, but you do need to have your doctor monitor how much protein is in your urine. Typically, if you have a stage of chronic kidney disease and you're spilling protein in your urine, you need to see your doctor every 3 months, and you need to eat as low carb as you possibly can. And typically, your kidneys will improve over the months, and you'll have less and less protein in your urine. But anytime you're spilling protein into your urine, that means you have some degree of kidney damage. That's what that means.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to exit stage right.
Okay. How we doing here?
Yeah,
We got a
about
few
10
more
minutes.
minutes. Okay, let's see. How we entertain ourselves with babies, ain't that the truth? Can you drink too much electrolytes? Carol says, yeah, you theoretically could if you just forced yourself to drink and drink and drink. But what I notice is if I have been working out in the garden, working in the yard, and I'm drinking, and I'll usually put a half scoop of Relight, or I'll put some Keto Chow electrolyte drops in my water. When I've had enough of that, it starts to taste too salty. Like, ooh, that doesn't taste good. And that's my body's way of letting me know you've had enough electrolytes, Bubba. You just need to drink some water. Floyd, what's your question about ketones in the urine? If you're eating a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, you're most assuredly going to have some ketones in your urine. Now, if your doctor is not aware that you're keto or carnivore, or they don't understand what being in ketosis means, they might freak out when they check your urine and you've got some ketones in your urine, because the reason they freak out is because typically for a doctor, just a regular person eating the standard American diet, if they've got ketones in their urine, then that means they are either dehydrated or they have some kind of urinary tract infection, or they're in ketoacidosis. Because if you're eating a high carbohydrate diet, you're never going to have ketones in your urine. It just doesn't happen. And so a lot of doctors who don't understand keto or carnivore yet they'll freak out if you've got ketones in your urine. But if you're eating a very low carbohydrate diet, it's absolutely normal to have ketones in your urine. Oh, Sharon's got the $1 million question. How do I know when I am really hungry? And that's an experimental give and take. It's because we're so mucked up when it comes to what's true hunger, what's true satiety, because we've been force-fed all this high-carb crap all our life that I think for some people it's almost permanently broken the brainstem, hormone, frontal cortex cycle of hunger and satiety. It took me a while. Now I know when I'm truly hungry and when I'm not. And when I choose to eat, when I'm not truly hungry, I'm fully aware of that. And so like if Pedro's cooked a big breakfast of bacon and eggs and I see that and I smell that, I'm like, that looks good. And so I have this little mental conversation in my head. I'm like, I totally know I'm not hungry yet, but I'm going to go ahead and eat that. And I think as long as you're having that internal conversation with yourself and you're aware, you're self-aware, then I think that is a much healthier place for you to be, that rather than seeing something and be like, ooh, I'm magically suddenly hungry when you're really not. And so don't ever let yourself fool yourself, right? But it takes a while to rediscover that. And I think fasting for 20 hours or 48 or 72, that's going to help you really rediscover or perhaps discover for the first time what it truly feels like for you personally to be hungry. And it takes a while. It takes a few weeks or a few months before you really figure that out. And it's very easy to be kind of down in the dumps and think, well, I'm hungry. And so that's why I love Christine's little self-test that she does. Are you skinless chicken breast hungry? Are you hungry enough that you would eat a dry hunk of skinless, boneless chicken breast? And if you're not hungry enough that you would eat that, then you're probably not physiologically hungry. And I know that doesn't solve that for you. Only time and experience and practice is going to solve that answer for you. Can artificial sweeteners cause anxiety? Melinda asked. I've had sucralose. Oh, where'd it go? I've had sucralose and can't even sit still. You know, I've heard that before. In some people, the sucralose or aspartame can act as a neurostimulant. And I don't think it does this in everybody, but there are some people that they get antsy and they get the can't sit stills and they'll almost get a temporary neuropathy or restless leg when they eat it. And I think that's 100% signal from your body, your personal biochemistry telling you not to eat that. Okay, and I don't think that's the case for everybody. Some people can eat it, it doesn't bother them at all, but I have known people, and I've gotten to the point where I can have a drink, an alcoholic drink in the early afternoon, but the other night me and Nisha were sitting out brainstorming about some future ideas, and I had a couple of mixed drinks, probably 2 shots of gin mixed with some electrolytes and some sparkling water. And I had the ants in my pants. I don't think I got to sleep until 4 a.m. And I will never do that again. And that for me, that's been progressively getting more and more pronounced as I get older. I just can't drink alcohol in any amount before bedtime or I'm going to have the ants in my pants, creepy crawlies, my nose is itching, I got to roll over. And anytime your body's giving you that feedback, you need to listen to that. Mike Jones did a 45-hour fast this week, almost by accident. Yeah, he forgot to eat. Yeah, exactly. And so that's the kind of thing that starts to happen when you've been doing this long enough, like Mike Jones and us have been doing. You'll just forget to eat because it's very common for human beings not to be physiologically hungry every day. And, used to you were hungry right at breakfast time, right at lunchtime, right at dinner time, and then also with the 3 snacks in between. You were hungry at all those times. But as you eat lower and lower carbohydrate and as you play around with some fasting, you'll realize, no, I wasn't hungry. It was just an alarm clock going off in my head. It's 9 a.m. It's time to eat breakfast. Therefore, I'm hungry. That's not real hunger. I'm pissed off at my spouse, and therefore I'm going to eat. That's not real hunger, right? I stayed up all night last night because I drank alcohol last night and I couldn't sleep good. Therefore, I'm hungry. That's not real hunger. That's just elevated cortisol. But Mike Jones will tell you, after you've been doing this for a while, you only feel true physiological hunger when you're truly physiologically hungry, which for some people only happens once a day or once every other day. And that's very ancestrally appropriate because we used to go a day or two without eating very often because you didn't make a kill, so you had to not eat. Catherine says, hey, Dr. Berry, any advice for reducing my BP medication, Ramipril 20 milligrams, amlodipine 20 milligrams, and propranolol 20 milligrams 2 times a day? I'm in the UK. Okay, Catherine. So do you have a blood pressure cuff at home? If not, get one. Get one that checks on your upper arm, not on your wrist, and sit down quietly, relax, do some meditation in a dark, quiet room for 15 minutes, and then check your blood pressure. Write that number down. Do that once or twice a day. If your blood pressure is high, don't recheck it. Don't chase it because it'll just keep going up. That's going to frustrate you. Check it in the morning, write it down. Check it in the evening, write it down. If those numbers are all consistently beautiful, when you go see your doctor at the next doctor visit, take those numbers with you and say, look, my blood pressure is perfect. Every time I check it at home, I want to decrease some of my medicine. And if I were you, I would ask to decrease the propranolol first because it's a beta blocker. And maybe he can make the propranolol just once a day, in which case take it in the evening if it's once a day. Or he may say, let's stop a medication altogether. And so that way you're working with your doctor. You're giving your doctor black and white numbers so that they're not just guessing in the dark what you're doing at home. But it's very common for your blood pressure when you go to the doctor for it to be very high because you're flustered. And that's going to make it go up. But you got to be checking those numbers at home and recording them so that you can help your doctor understand, dude, my blood pressure is great because I'm eating keto or carnivore. I don't need all this medication anymore. And a lot of doctors, even if your blood pressure is normal, they're still going to want to keep you on your medicine because in their training, you never don't have high blood pressure. You always have it, even if your numbers are normal. I know that doesn't make any logical sense, but that's how doctors think. I used to think that way. But you will be able to have a relationship with your doctor and decrease those medications until hopefully you're off them all. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for joining us. There's Nisha back. Did you do your duties?
I did it.
All right. We love you guys. See you next time.
Bye.